see either a breakaway or a much reduced bunch coming into the finish, it will be to a degree, I think.
A bunch sprint that might not involve any of the
sprinters.
Team sprinters.
Yeah. I mean, when you look back at people that have won this race, it's always been climbers. Quintana, Contador, Thomas Voeckler, who's riding his 9th Route to Sud and allegedly his last, having won it twice in the past. So it's always a climber orientated race.
Yeah, Tommy Voeckler would be looking to go out on his own with 3 victories in this race, unless you go right the way back. It was 1 and a race. Nairo Quintana was meant to be competing and yet has elected not to. Now there's plenty of speculation. We see another attack off the front trying to close the gap, and looks like a Movistar rider getting involved, and Movistar sitting at the front there and protecting things.
Pierre Roland after him as well, but you can see there's not a lot of organisation at the front of the group. It looks like teams have spoken about this, and this is what's happening. We've just got attacks and reactions, and for me, Jonathan, these races are more exciting than the Grand Tours, with the exception of this year's Giro, obviously, because there's no formula to them. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. You can't predict that it's going to come down to a bunch sprint. At the end of the day, it's always exciting watching these smaller races.
Very exciting, and also so much more, as you only have to have one really good day, and then you can sit and defend it, whereas you do in the Grand Tours, there tend to be just a handful of riders who could win, but we do have to take this year's Giro d'Italia as a bit of an exception. They really did serve up probably the greatest piece of cycling that we can remember in quite a long time, and that for the one to the, because they really absolutely, and there was excitement all through, and it's a tour that this man will remember very fondly indeed, picking up the stage victory that he did, a crucial stage victory for BMC. They did get another one through TJ van Garderen later on in the tour, and it's been a pretty decent season for them so far this year. A lot of people now seem to be talking up the chances of Richie Porte at the Tour, and I always seem to be a little bit nervous about him getting bigged up. So yeah, Richie Porte, is there a chance that he is going to be able to put together a decent challenge? He's looked in very good form in the races leading in, but deceptively he's looked in very good form in races leading into the Tour before.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, Richie Porte over the years, he's been there or thereabouts when he was riding for Chris Froome and supporting him in the mountains when he was at Sky. He does look like he's got a lot of form, but didn't win the Dauphiné the other week. But let's not say he was bullied, but certainly there, even by his own interview, said that there were teams that would rather I lost than they won. For me, I'm just not sure he's got a strong enough team in the mountains to support him. When Cadel Evans won the Tour, he won the Tour being very mountain finishes, very similar to when Bradley Wiggins won the Tour. We didn't have climbing, but a lot of the finishes were after a descent, and the team could control it for him. Rider, he didn't win the Tour with big attacks the way we see Froome. He's going to have to be very economical in the mountains and fantastic in the time trials. Now, if Chris Froome has gone away for a month and has really he's been lacking in the Tour de France, when you put the two teams against each other as well, we saw Richie get isolated. Yes, I think he's one of the favourites for the not sure he's going
to. So we have screens a moment ago, Andrei Grivko of Astana and Gasly Provence, KTM and Sylvain Dillier, who is currently out in front, 13 seconds back to the second chasing group of Lubé, Guémois and Mate Maradona groups, and then the peloton, which itself is quite a long way behind, but bunching up. And now, after all of that little bit of seem to have
yeah, just going about how races are very exciting, because we've got some teams that aren't normally in races of this type up against teams of this caliber, put themselves in the shop window, and they only need one good ride to come to the attention of some of these teams. So the smaller teams will attack, and that's also part of what gives us this unpredictability of this race. You've got 3 riders in this front group who are from smaller teams whose jerseys you probably don't notice, and we'll go through those later on. But it doesn't take much for these riders to take a chance, get a gap, and that then really does turn the race in its head, and some of the World Tour teams have to react and ride hard for the next couple of days to dispense with them.
Well, this is a group containing the likes of David Ar and also another rider in there, Pierre Gouault from the HP BTB Aubert 93. That's the number 85 jersey that's sported there, perhaps one that you won't know. Going to take a quick break. We'll return in a few moments' time. Round 10, 12, 13 seconds down on Sylvain Dillier. And you have in there Kenny Elissonde of Team Sky. He too a rider who took part in the had a markedly different Giro d'Italia to the man who's currently out in front, Sylvain Dillier. Dillier, of course, won stage 6 into Terme Lugano, and then Elisand crashed out and retired from the race. Now, he's one of his teammates here. Come, nasty crash. We'll have a little more chat about him in a few moments' time. Nance Peters of France and Age Desert there on your screens with Mikel Iturria of the close-up view of one of the Movistar riders. Movistar have come here with a strong team in spite of the absence